Hello Apollo Army, and welcome to our first entry into a series of videos about our game ecosystem development progress. So what exactly is a dev diary? Basically, it's a way for developers to communicate feature development and progress so the community can better understand what is happening behind the scenes. These are only snippets of what's going on though. We don't want to talk about everything in the case that the design is not fully baked yet or is proprietary in some way. That's a long way of saying that what you see here is only a portion of what's really going on. We hope that you find these videos educational as well. Developing games is not a simple process and it takes time to get right, especially with the emerging technology in Web3. We want to retain our brand promise of transparency though and keep everyone up to date, even if it's small things from time to time. So please take note that this presentation doesn't represent what will be a final product by any stretch. We are just 2 weeks into the production process and we're already having features come online, but many of them are in their basic state. The process is to get key game systems in place and then add polish. What it does communicate is a glimpse into our hands-on efforts to realize the vision set forth in the State of the DAO. It has grown since we last talked, both in a sense of experience and partnership potential. I can't wait to share more on that with you when we reveal the business strategy in a couple weeks. We are calling this development effort the Apollo Moonbase internally. I will add a link in the description below to our Discord where there will be a new Apollo Moonbase channel set up for all discussion around the Dev Diary videos and progress on the gaming ecosystem. Please join us there if you are not an Apollo Discord member already, and feel free to ask any questions you may have. Okay, so let's dive in. Today I'm just going to highlight two of the areas of focus around the project: prototyping and Web3 systems. Don't forget we are still evolving the onboarding system as well to buy Apollo in a more user-friendly way, but updates will come separately for that. Prototyping is basically the process in which games are implementing basic systems that will help developers prove out what does and doesn't work from their paper strategies, and more importantly, find the fun in the game mechanics. It's always less time consuming and costly if you can identify problem areas early on before the whole production team is onboarded. Once we prove out most of the mechanics, we will then move to a process called vertical slice. This is where we take some of the more interesting mechanics and build out a small portion of the game to reflect what we think it will be like when we go public with it. This would include art, sound effects, things like that are final and polished. The good news is that we have a lot of code written in the past that helps accelerate this process. So instead of months, this process will likely take weeks to prototype. The other key game-related initiative is Web3 integrations. This is all new development centered around integrating wallets like MetaMask into the game engine and reading and writing data to the chain. It's work that isn't very visual but critical to the success of this project to maintain security and auditability when interacting with the game ecosystem. Here are some specific highlights of what we accomplished during our first sprint on prototype work. We wrote a good deal of management code for things like game state, visual effects management, sound management, messaging between systems, and more. This is the key to make sure that the game communicates everything that needs to take place and updates the state of things properly. We then grayboxed a basic starting level of the game that we can prove out the prototype mechanics within, a sandboxing of sort for us to experiment and test systems with. When I say graybox, that means it's not the final art, just some art that we're using as placeholders while our art team comes on board and starts creating the look and feel of the final assets. We are going for the pixel type design though. It is a proven style that is fun for the types of game modes we have designed, and it works well for our NFT plans, which we will reveal in a couple weeks. We did have one of our artists create a more polished avatar based on our original inspiration of Apollo the dog. This included walk and run cycles so we could introduce the systems that would get the player character moving around the world and interacting with various objects. Free players will get to play with one of our basic avatars, but more advanced characters in the game will be reserved for the Apollo token holders and NFT holders. Our team then coded up the basic systems that allow us to move the player character in the gray box map. Free movement controlled by keys, gamepad, and eventually mobile touch controls. Animation and camera systems were also worked on during this effort to properly frame the character and the game world it lives in. The final development effort I wanted to highlight from last week is the world item interaction and pickup system. This links communication between the character when it collides with something in the world and then stores it in inventory and communicates that to the user interface. We decided to start with Apollo Moon tokens, or AMTs for short, which will be the virtualized in-game currency that is one-to-one with the Apollo token holdings in the DAO reserve for the game payouts. We can't wait until players start collecting these virtualized tokens by performing missions, winning weekly leaderboard competitions, and hitting those achievements. While all this prototyping has been going on, Zach has been leading the charge on the Web3 systems front. There's lots here to talk about in the business strategy meeting, but to get us started, we needed some functions that would enable us to interact with user wallets. We are using MetaMask's new Unity SDK that will allow users to connect their wallet to the game even without having MetaMask installed on their browser. After authentication, we will then be able to pull information about that wallet. Things like checking the amount of Apollo a user holds and what relevant NFTs are in the wallet. Once we see an NFT that can be used in the game, we can pull data from it. The devs at Consensus, the creators of MetaMask, have been great to work with as we push the boundaries and capabilities of the MetaMask SDK. Well, that does it for this sneak peek into our process. I hope this helps, and again, join us in the Discord Moonbase channel if you have any questions and to receive the latest info between Dev Diary updates every couple weeks. You can also follow our public roadmap and Trello board at the link listed below. This gets into more details about what's in progress and in what stage it's at. As always, we want to provide as much transparency as possible. Lots of exciting efforts that we put forward into the next development sprint planning meeting this morning. I can't wait to share them with you in the next video. Take care and have a great day.